Busy weekend for combat sports. Lots of boxing going on. And then there was the UFC Fight Night. ONE FC had a couple events also. And then also, I missed last week, so lots to cover. Or we'll see whatever we get to. But as far as recap on last week, King Gary took down Carlos Prates in a really good strategic fight. Was able to make the rounds short and protect himself from Prates' power. And then Prates, for all that being done and how well Gary fought, Prates was still almost able to steal it right at the end of the fifth. And then in the co-main event of that one, Ming Yang Zhang took down Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith retired, so happy retirement to him. Moving down, Giga Chikadze got beat because he won't wrestle. And David Onama didn't look great, but won because he's just a more complete fighter. Abbas Magomedov and Michel Pereira gassed out after a minute of fighting each other and then slugged it out for 3 rounds, and Abbas Magomedov took the win there. Randy Brown got a nice knockout over Nicholas Dalby. Very Max Holloway, Justin Gaethje-esque in the trades. And then to open it, Ikram Aliskerov got back in the win column against Andre Muniz. So that was last week. Moving on to this week, we had a good fight night. Corey Sandhagen taking on Davison Figueiredo. Corey Sandhagen looked really good in this one. Came out, was aggressive. Both guys were fighting for the center. Sandhagen with more of the pokey volume shots, high volume poke shots, and Figueiredo with the selective power shots. And real early, Figueiredo goes for a takedown, so that must have been his strategy to get to deal with the length and size of Corey Sandhagen to get him down to the ground. But Sandhagen was game to it. He was willing to clinch, and he actually gets Figueiredo pushed up against the cage first. Figueiredo lands a big uppercut as they break from that moment. Then Corey Sandhagen later answers with a zone, like a well-timed uppercut off a stance switch, I think. But from that, Figueiredo crashed in and was able to get the takedown. There was a lot of weird groundwork in this one, or interesting groundwork, I guess. So Figueiredo, after eating the uppercut, is able to crash in and get the takedown. And Sandhagen turns his back to stand up, gets up. Figueiredo gets too high and falls off. Then Sandhagen's on top, starting to work, trying to get to his ground and pound his elbows and things like that. As he postures up to stands up high, Figueiredo weaves his leg inside and goes to an inside ashi position, which is one of the most dangerous positions to be in like a jiu-jitsu context. But for MMA, when you got hammer fists, things like that, much more difficult to just pull off leg attacks when all 4 of your limbs are attacking one limb and your opponent still has their hands free to strike with. So Figueiredo gets to an inside ashi position with his left leg reaping over Sandhagen's leg. And so that position is kind of awkward in and of itself, but Figueiredo doesn't really do too much with it. He's not even really hunting for the leg. He's not trying to sweep. He's just kind of sitting there getting beat on. Eventually, Figueiredo does use the position to wrestle up, but Sandhagen rolls through and reverses direction to stay on top. Then Figueiredo tries to roll to the outside to what kind of resembles like a knee bar, but he's way too low on it. And Sandhagen from there is able to just deconstruct the position, whatever Figueiredo was trying to do. Then he lands some good ground and pound, like standing over top of Figueiredo. That's the end of the first round. Second round, both guys open up with heavy low kicks. Sandhagen's throwing heavier in this round, and he whips a big shot, and Figueiredo's actually able to duck it and get around to his back. Sandhagen escapes. Figueiredo lands a pretty big right hand, and Sandhagen just kind of shrugs it off. Figueiredo gets another takedown, and now Sandhagen uses inside ashi to he just sweeps, or he gets on top from it like immediately. He does some more ground and pound or poke shots here and there, but Figueiredo is able to get his feet on the hips and push off to get back to his feet. And they try and exchange here. Sandhagen's working a good jab from both stances, switching stances, moving around. Then he shoots a well-timed takedown, starts landing some ground and pound. And then from here, Figueiredo tries his inside ashi again. This time, Sandhagen pushes it immediately to outside ashi. And Figueiredo swims his head underneath Sandhagen's left leg, so now he's switched it to 50-50. Then Figueiredo passes his outside leg across Sandhagen's body for like an 80-20 position. Sandhagen from top position does a roll and tries to attack his own heel hook, but now the position switched to where he's on bottom, Figueiredo's on top. Sandhagen switches the position to 50-50. Then he tries to invert underneath in between Figueiredo's legs, go to backside 50-50. But Figueiredo backsteps, and when he backsteps, Sandhagen uses that momentum to come on top. And when he does come on top, Figueiredo's leg is kind of trapped and he's a little slow. He resists it. He's trying to fight instead of rolling with it. He tries to resist Sandhagen, and in doing so, he just puts too much strain on his knee and gets it popped. And so when Sandhagen comes on top, Sandhagen starts landing hammer fists and things like that. But you can see it on Figueiredo's face. He's torn something in his knee and he's hurting, so he taps out, and then that's it. So Sandhagen looked really good. He gets the win by TKO finish from a awkward positioning thing. So kind of like a submission / TKO. Sandhagen looked really good. So whoever's next for him should be fun if he comes out with this aggressive kind of style, or more aggressive with his same kind of technique and savvy that he has. Whether it be Peter Yan or whoever they got this starting to bunch up for the title shot. So maybe he gets a shot at the title because he's new. He hasn't fought either of those guys before. Maybe he's got to do a contender elimination match. But good stuff from him. For Davison Figueiredo, that's 2 losses in a row at bantamweight. So maybe just a trip back down to flyweight if you can make that. But he's only losing to like top tier guys, so maybe he can just try again. In the co-main event, we had Bo Nickel taking on Reiner de Ritter. Bo Nickel being the surging, undefeated last hope for American wrestling, and Reiner de Ritter having a couple of fights in the UFC, but he came over from ONE FC. He was a 2-division champion over there. Actually fought for heavyweight too, so 3-division title contender. And this was interesting because it's 2 different styles of grappler, just the wrestler versus the jiu-jitsu guy, I think is what everybody was thinking. And they did have some exchanges on the feet, but grappling was pretty much where it was determined, and more specifically the clinch. As they got into their exchanges, eventually or inevitably they would end up getting clinched together, and here it Reiner just showed that it was just more comfortable with the strikes in the clinch. So it's the blending of the two. It's not just having one or the other, but he was showing knees straight away. Nothing landed too clean, but they were getting clinched up against the walls, and both of them were doing knees here and there. But Reiner being such a big guy, his knees are a lot closer, and so they're going to be faster to the mark. And they get more leverage digging up into somebody, so the height is a huge advantage there. Also, Bo with these upper body, or I don't know if he was going to, or if he was trying to get takedowns from upper body. There's more of this too with Miesha Tate's fight. But if you're going for upper body takedowns, I think again it's the height and leverage helps out a lot. In the first round, Bo is able to get like an ankle pick. He's able to do like an Uchimata into an ankle pick to get a takedown off the cage. And he is able to maybe get off a little bit of ground and pound, but then as Reiner kicks off and wrestles up, Reiner uses his jiu-jitsu to get out of it. He pivots around and goes for like an armbar or something like that. But he's able to kick out and then wrestle up or get to like his own single leg from the scramble. And Bo has front headlock position and he jumps a guillotine, maybe trying to make a point. And de Ritter's able to get out of it and then lay on top of him, landing some ground and pound. Nothing too significant lands, but he takes the round because of the reversal there. Kind of unwise from Bo. Going into round 2, same thing. They get to like scrappy exchanges until they end up clinching again. And now de Ritter's landing more knees. Bo tries to land his own knees. Bo is able to get to a rear waist lock again, but can't really do anything with it. De Ritter easily like escapes and just stays in the clinch range. Continues to land the knees to the body. Throws one, nearly lands up to the head. And de Ritter was doing better with the clinch positions or like tangling up Bo's pinning his arms down. So we get like an overhook and he'd catch the far arm, and then he was landing punches. So he was giving him like, that's your options. It wasn't even like wasn't even trying takedowns. He was just like punching him, and then if you protect your body, I'll punch you in the head, and if you protect your head, I'll throw the knees. So Nickel finds himself up against the cage. He's clinched up. DeRitter's got his hands tangled up, and he's eating a bunch of punches. He knows he's got to get out of there, so he swings. He gets off the cage, but DeRitter's on him. He's able to like parry or move out of the way of a big shot. Poe tries to throw to keep him off and parries it and steps in with a big left knee straight to the liver. Bo goes down. TKO. Big win from DeRitter. He looked good. And he's actually looked good in all his matches. The one against Jared Mearshart, which I think was maybe his first one when he came in, he looked a little sloppy and whatever, but he was able to get that one done, get a finish in the third round. Easily handled Kevin Hall and now Bo Nichols. So then he called out Strickland after that, that'd be a fun one too. DeRitter seems like a pretty fun guy, so having him he seems like a pretty chill guy. So it would be interesting to see if Strickland can find any way to get under his skin, or if it gets under Strickland's skin, how unbothered DeRitter is. But that was a good win from him. Bo Nicholas fine. Everybody loses. He just needs to go back to the drawing board and just get back to training. The big issue with him is he's just always been so arrogant for having not accomplished anything in MMA. So hopefully this will be the humility or the humbling that he needs to get back to work, and we'll see him back bigger and better next time. So before that, we had Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Daniel Rodriguez. In the opening round, Rodriguez was getting his punches going. He was doing really good with the straight punches, attacking the head and the body. Ponzinibbio was trying to work the legs, doing this head to body. So they were doing good there. And then at the end of the round, Ponzinibbio throws a kick and he kind of gets tripped up. And as he's recovering, Rodriguez is able to land some big punches. Round 2 was a better one. So Rodriguez wins the first round. Ponzinibbio comes out in round 2. They're throwing at each other. Ponzinibbio's landing some good right hands, but he's like falling off balance a lot. I don't think, or it looks like he's getting hit, but I think he's just falling off balance. But after it. He's on the pressure, and D-Rod kind of looks like he's slowing down. He's playing on the back foot a lot more, but he's still landing shots here and there. And honestly, the shots that Rodriguez are landing are few and far between, but they look like they're having, they're doing more damage. But the activity for Ponzinibbio, he starts hooking the right hand. He's able to, I think he took round 2. Round 3, Ponzinibbio's back, throwing big hands, and then he tries to, I don't know if he feints it or if he tries to pull it back. Probably trying to pull it back or something like that, because he feints the right hand, leaves himself like kind of out of position. And then D-Rod sees the opportunity and seizes the opportunity, throws a 5-punch combo, and eventually catches him with the big left hand at the end, and then finishes him off with some ground and pound. Ponzinibbio tried to bounce up and protest the stoppage, but then runs headfirst into the cage. So good for him for being a warrior like that. But good stoppage, good win from Rodriguez. Montel Jackson versus Daniel Marcos. This one was not the most exciting fight. A lot of grappling and clinching, and nothing really came from it. Pretty close match. Montel Jackson landed a cool foot sweep. They both looked game, just neither one of them were able to really get too much done. Montel Jackson goes for a Darce at the end, but Marcos is game and is able to reverse it, get on top. I mean, these both guys, they didn't look bad. It was just a lot of grappling. And it was all three judges gave it 10-9 to Jackson, but it was actually a much closer fight than that, I think. But that's how I scored it too. But just this is kind of an example, though, of how, even though it's 30-27, that looks like it was a blowout, but it was far from that. Also, there was Cameron Smotherman versus Sergey City. This one wasn't super exciting. It was just City playing stick and move. Cameron Smotherman trying to get to him to land the big right hands or the big heavy hands, but he just wasn't doing a good enough job cutting the cage. City was doing a good job staying on the outside, stick and move, and mixing up. He had a good variety. City actually looked pretty good. He was doing good with his jab and his low kick. And a variety. He was just like the more well-rounded. I don't know how much Smotherman kicked or anything. He was just trying to land the punches. And City was attacking high, low with punches, kicks, shooting takedowns, feinting, all that, so he could set up the next thing. But there wasn't a lot of significant moments. Towards the end of the third round, or in the third round, City is able to get a takedown and tries to Darce, but that was about it. City picks up a unanimous decision win. And then the opener for the main card was actually a banger. Jeremy Stevens making a return versus Mason Jones. And this one was a lot of fun. Mason Jones looked good. He was in there. Jeremy Stevens has been at bare knuckle boxing, and that's pretty much what he looked like in this fight. He was just throwing hands. Still's got the power. Had a couple good cracking moments on Jones, but for the most part, Jones was able to stick with him. Jones had good punches, good head movement, good kicks, dynamic kicks, and then also ends every round with a takedown, and I think every round on Jeremy Stevens' back. So first round they bang it out. Second round was crazy. Both of them get their mouthpiece knocked out. Jones in the second round starting to find the elbows, cut Stevens open. Stevens has timed Jones's jab, and he's finding his overhand right. Stevens is able to land a good body shot at one point that backed Jones up, but the second round ends. Jones ducks a spinning back fist and is able to get a takedown and just ride it out. That one's at the very end. But the third round, Jones just goes immediately, or gets a takedown pretty early and just rides out the whole round, which he probably could have done in every round, but he decided to stand and bang with Stevens, which was pretty cool. But that was a good win from Mason Jones. He looked good. So this is, I guess they were saying this is like his second run in the UFC, but he looked good, so hopefully he can make something out of it. In the prelims, Yana Santos was able to take down Miesha Tate. First round, Miesha Tate comes out hard and fast and is able to land some shots on Santos, but Santos is able to survive, and then it settles about 2 minutes into it. And then from that point on, she's able to just work, stick and move, just staying away from Tate. And even when Tate gets in, she attacks a lot of upper body takedowns, or she's going for like upper body clinches. And again, I think the taller person, is going to have the advantage there with the leverage. But maybe not. I mean, I don't know. I guess she's been practicing it, so she must know. Yana Santos was doing a good job with getting underhooks. And if she couldn't, she was still working good from overhooks, landing knees, whenever they get into those clinch positions. And then they were looking like they were easier and easier to defend as it went on. But it's kind of a shame. Miesha Tate wasn't looking bad, and she was able to get on the inside, which must have been, I mean, that had to have been her game plan, get to the inside and get to a takedown. She was able to get inside a lot. Santos was doing a good job trying to stay on the outside, but every once in a while, Tate was able to get there. She just wasn't able to capitalize on it. But she should have. She got in there plenty. If she would have changed her level and gone for like a lower body takedown, she might have been able to get a single leg so they can't move. Upper body, they're still able to position. Then also, if you get them back to against cage, if they're good at it, they can use the cage for balance. But yeah, if you actually snag up a leg, you can slow them down at least, and then maybe actually get them down. In the third round, she is finally able to catch Santos and gets to a body lock and is able to just rip her down, and then land some ground and pound, and has Santos in danger, but it's just not going to be enough. She had to get the finish because she lost the previous rounds. It looks like she got close on the neck, but wasn't able to do it. So Santos takes it 2 rounds to 1, 29-28. Before that, Azamat Bakoev knocked out Ryan Loder. At the start of the fight, Loder presses in. He blitzes and is able to land some strikes, gets Bakoev up against the cage, but I think he gets ahead of himself. Then Bakoev is able to reverse the position. Bakoev is stomping his feet. Loder's able to time one of those foot stomps to get back in position. Loder's able to get Azamat down to a knee, but he can't get him all the way down. Azamat is able to get up and separate. Then Azamat lands a big right hand, knocks Loder down. Loder, to his credit, is able to pop right back up, but Azamat is just unloading and eventually finds another big right hand that knocks him down, stands over top of Loder, and finishes him on the ground. So good win from him. He looked good in the first round. Gets a TKO win. Jillian Robertson is able to out-grapple Marina Rodriguez. Rodriguez had to have known that Robertson was gonna come in for the takedowns. And there's some level of like control striking, like working straight punch or yeah, working straight shots to keep your range. And I just don't see enough of it. So in the first round, Jillian is able to just bait Marina into a striking exchange. She starts throwing hooks and things like that. And then Robertson's able to duck under and just get a takedown and just lay on her. Ground and pound till the end of the round. Land some good elbows. In the second round, Robertson, again, is just back on the pressure. Goes for a takedown. Rodriguez goes for a ninja choke. I guess has just given up on the idea of not getting taken down. But Robertson's able to transition to mount. Then she's, kind of on the back. Then takes mount again. Then just more ground and pound from eventually she settles in mount, gets ground and pound TKO. So good win from her. That might have been a retirement from Rodriguez. Also, we had Gaston Bolaños versus Quang Lee. And Lee was just better with the grappling, was able to get to the takedowns. Bolaños tries to stand, but he gives up the rear waist lock, and Lee's able to return him back to the mat. I think they do this a couple times. Then he's just alternating punches and rear naked choke attempts. Once he gets him back down to the mat, Lee's able to actually to secure the back. That's basically how the first round goes. In the second round, Bolaños comes out. He's pressuring. They get into an exchange. Lee tries another takedown. Bolaños is able to defend it. Lee lands a nice head kick. Lee's able to catch a kick from Bolaños to get the takedown. And Bolaños trying to get up, gives his back. And Lee takes the back and is able to get the rear naked choke. Chokes him out cold. So good win for Quang Lee. And we got to work on better stand-ups for Bolaños. Also, we had Thomas Peterson taking on Dontel Mays. This is more of the same. Peterson's able to get the takedowns on Dontel Mays, and Mays tries to stand up, but in doing so, you give the rear waist lock, and if you don't have a plan for that, you're just going to get sat down again. And that's basically how this whole fight goes. Round one, Peterson takedown, Mays trying to stand up a couple times, and Peterson just return him to the mat until he eventually gets him settled, gets a big mat return. Then he gets some ground and pound from side control, attempts an arm triangle, but just, finding ground and pound where you can for round one. Round two is just more of the same. Peterson, just the takedowns are coming easier. Mays tries to stand up. He's able to get some separation, but Peterson's able to take him down again, ground and pound till the end of the round. And then last round, Peterson lands a big left right, and Dontel Mays uses the last bit of his energy trying to flying knee, but Peterson gets a takedown. This is 15 seconds into the round, and then the rest of the time, Peterson just rides on top and just tries to ground and pound. Isn't able to get the finish, which is kind of just discouraging for Peterson for all the control he had. But all these, this wasn't a very fun, or this was not a very high action fight, but it was good. Peterson was trying to get the finish, just couldn't get the finish. And the refs gave Peterson 4 10-8 rounds. By the end of the fight, the strikes were 105-13 for Peterson over Mays. And then for significant strikes, this is the downside for Peterson. He only had 28 significant strikes through all that control. But throughout the entire fight, Dontel Mays only had 3 significant strikes and 9 takedowns for Peterson. So if you scored any of them 10-8, you could have maybe scored all of them 10-8. Peterson was just able to completely take Dontel Mays out of the fight with his grappling. Last one to open the show, we had Ivana Petrovich versus Juliana Miller. And this was a fun scrap. Both of them were getting after for whatever they could. And they both looked good at times. The striking of Petrovic looked pretty good. And Juliana Miller, I think she's just more well-rounded. If she could add some speed to what she was doing, she could be pretty good. She seemed tough, and she was just doing a better job of mixing the strikes and the grappling, in my opinion. And then when she was able to get takedowns and things like that, she was able to get to the more dominant position to ride it out to a victory. So good win from her. That was it for UFC Fight Night, Sandhagen versus Figueiredo. There's a lot of boxing and stuff, but didn't see any of it. Don't care about it. But that's gonna be all for me for this one. Next week we have we got a UFC pay-per-view. We got Bilal taking on JDM for the welterweight strap, and then we got Valentina Shevchenko defending her belt against Manon Fiorot. And then there's some other good scraps maybe on it. So fingers crossed. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing. If I missed anything or you agree to disagree, let me know in the comments. But that's it. I'm out to stay.